scenes that comes out of these documents that show the weighing of the soul. This is what the journey was all about, the weighing of the soul. And in this process of the weighing of the soul, we see the soul of the departed, who never is dressed in white. Because in indigenous culture, white is a color that represents death, the absence of life.
Yes.
Black is a color that represented the Creator, God. Here we see Impu, who's known to the Greeks as Anubis, leading that soul to the hall of Ma'at. And here we have the most important symbol in this scene, the scale of Ma'at. You see an image of Ma'at here, the feminine head. Ma'at is feminine energy with the ostrich feather on her head. This is the scale of Ma'at. And on the right side of the balance, we see the feather of Ma'at, which again represents all of the principles and concepts associated with this African feminine nature, or principle or aspect of the divine. On the other side of the balance, we see a vessel which represents the heart of the deceased. Thus, the title of this piece, The Weighing of the Soul, because in ancient Kemet, the heart was viewed as the seat of the soul. So on the Day of Judgment, in 1238 BCE, Hunefer heart was weighed on the scale of Ma'at. And it was there where he had to recite the 42 admonitions of Ma'at. 42 admonitions of Ma'at. Some of those admonitions are, I have not stolen, I have not robbed, I have not committed adultery, I have not committed sin, I have not defrauded offerings. These 42 admonitions of Ma'at were distilled by Moses and presented to his people as the 10 Commandments. And what we don't know is that they left 32 behind. Okay? After Ma'at Hunefer declared his innocence as his heart was weighed on the scale of Ma'at. If his declaration was in fact true, if his words were true, then it meant that the scale would balance out because his heart would be as light as a feather. That's where the concept comes from. And this event was recorded in the Book of Life by Jehuti.
Yes.
Here's Jehuti again. And then Heru, the son of Asar, would then present the venerated Hunefer to his father Asar, who is seated on the throne of judgment. And then Asar would make a determination as to whether or not his soul would go to heaven or hell. So we're talking about African concepts of the soul, African concepts of the judgment of the soul, African concepts of the judge sitting on the throne of judgment, the 42 admonitions of Ma'at, 13th century BCE.
Yes, yes.
1,300 years before the birth of Jesus. And this is an old document which has been used in Kemet from the beginning of Kemetic time, at least 3000 BC. You see what folk have done with our knowledge?
Yes.
See how they changed our knowledge, flipped it upside down, and presented it to the world as their own creation. So, this is a very important scene, very significant scene. And what we know is that we know about the books of the dead. Everybody talks about the book of the dead, the book of the dead, the book of the dead. There are thousands, tens of thousands of so-called books of the dead. What they don't talk about are the books of life. See, because it appears when you listen to the Discovery Channel or National Geographic, they tell you that the Egyptians had a preoccupation with death. That's why they built all these tombs, they built all these monuments. No, these Africans had a preoccupation with life. And they knew that life was eternal. They knew that life was cyclical. They knew that you would be judged, and then you would come back and live another life. That is a part of contemporary African society today. That is why we honor our ancestors. Why? Because they live in us right now. We are the ancestors. So there is a continuum in this knowledge. Unbroken despite slavery. Unbroken despite segregation, Jim Crow.
Yes.
that essence is still in us. And so what I want us to realize is that forget this nonsense about the African people having a preoccupation with death. They had a preoccupation with life. So the question is, where are the books of life? If there were thousands of books of death, there must have been tens of thousands of books of life. Have you all ever seen them? They ever talk about them? They are secreted in private libraries throughout the world. People have been studying this information, trying to decipher the meta-nature, trying to understand the principles so that they can hold on to power as long as they can. And so what I want us to realize, that the teachings of Ma'at and Jehuti were the cornerstone of this knowledge system. So let's look at these two principles. Specifically, principles associated with Jehuti were given to us by Professor George G. M. James in his book, The Stolen Legacy, as the 10 virtues, the prerequisites for moral development. 10 virtues are control of thought, control of action, steadfastness, identity with the higher ideals, evidence of a mission, evidence of a call to spiritual order, freedom from resentment, confidence in the power of the master, the teacher, confidence in your own abilities, and then preparation for initiation. And of these 10 virtues, the first 3 are the most significant to me. Control of thought, control of action, and steadfastness. Everything begins with thought. Everything begins with thought. All of your actions are a direct result of how you think. So, as gosh, I'm blanking on my brother's name. Give me a minute. Carter G. Woodson said, if you control a person's thinking, what? You don't have to worry about their actions. You don't have to tell them where to go. You don't have to tell them to buy a 40 or smoke blunts, because their thoughts are going to pre-program them to engage in self-destructive behavior, so they will be no good to themselves or their community. So control of thought is the first thing, because your thought determines your actions. If you are thinking correctly, you will do correct things. The third point is steadfastness. So if you're thinking right and doing right, keep doing that. Maintain that steadfast relationship. And as you continue to do that over a period of months, your consciousness will begin to elevate itself, and you will begin to experience, you will begin to identify with higher ideas. This stuff that you see on television doesn't interest you anymore. The folks that you used to hang out with, party with, they don't interest you anymore, because you now have higher ideals. You now see the world, you now see your life differently. And as you allow yourself to cultivate these higher ideals, you begin to experience evidence of a mission. Your purpose in life. Every person was born to do something better than any person on this earth. So our thoughts were designed to lead us in that direction so that we can find our mission in life. And when you find that mission in life, you will then experience a call to spiritual order. Call to spiritual order. You will unite your consciousness with the spirit in the universe. It will fuse itself within your body, and you will know who you are and what it is you must do. And as you experience that development, number 7 is key. You must experience freedom from resentment. Because your boyfriend or your girlfriend, your wife or your husband, your mom or your daddy, your friends say, what's wrong with you? You don't hang out like you used to. You think you better than we are, don't you? Simply because you found that reason for living. So you must be free from the resentment that your loved ones will heap upon you. 8, confidence in the power of the master. There's a saying that when the student is ready, the master will appear. So you must have confidence in the ability of the master who will enter your life and then help further your development along the spiritual path. And at some point, you must surrender yourself to the process and stop questioning everything. At some point, you've got to know that I trust this person. So what they tell me to do, I will do, because I know they have my best interest at heart. And as you continue along that development, you then will experience confidence in your own abilities. Because the confidence of the master has now been distilled within you. And you now know with crystal clarity who you are and what it is you must